right now on 12 News at 10.
I'm Maria Stobbs in the newsroom. Bright blue pigeons were spotted out at the Salt River after a gender reveal. Coming up, the warning from a local nonprofit and why the couple says they regret it.
Phoenix is implementing major fire restrictions, how it could affect your 4th of July plans.
And fans in the Valley packed this downtown Phoenix bar to cheer on Mexico in the World Cup.
12 News at 10 starts now.
Good evening. We're starting with breaking news. This is Sky 12 video of a massive police situation in Phoenix. Phoenix Fire, police, and SWAT teams were at the scene. Police just taking someone into custody moments ago.
12 News journalist Chase Golightly is at the scene. And Chase, what do we know?
Creepy, a very chaotic situation here near 12th Street and Cave Creek Road. Police telling us that this all started when an adult son attacked his father, locked himself inside the home, and then set it on fire. We actually have video of that suspect, the son, being taken into custody that we want to share with you. You can see that son, the suspect police were after, right in the middle of your screen, with 2 Phoenix police officers on either side of him. The information that we have at this time, given to us by Phoenix Police about 20 minutes ago, tells us that they got the call at about 6:30 p.m. Again, that there was a fight happening inside a home right here in this area. A father saying that he was assaulted by his son. Police got out here to the scene. They checked on the father, took him to the hospital. They said he suffered non-life-threatening injuries and is expected to be okay. But then they had to try to go after the son, who locked himself inside the home. We were out here. We could hear police actually trying to negotiate with him, telling him that the home is surrounded by police and firefighters, asking the son not to pick up any knives or guns, that they are going to be entering the home. And then eventually they saw all the smoke coming from inside the house, believing that the son set it on fire. And then eventually the son did come out and was taken into custody. Again, this call happened at 6:30. We didn't see him taken into custody until about, I would say, 9:20, 9:15-ish. So he was in there for a while. Still an active situation here. We are seeing firefighters and police starting to leave the area. It's unclear how long this area will be shut down for. They also said no other suspects are in custody, or they're not searching for any other suspects. So it seems like the situation has wrapped up. But of course, we'll be sure to bring you more information as it develops. For now, we're live in Phoenix. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
All right, Chase, thank you for that. New tonight, they're hard to miss. Bright blue pigeons spotted in the wild. They were dyed for a gender reveal, and now a wildlife rehabilitator is warning about the risks.
12 News journalist Maria Stobbs is here with more on the situation. And Maria, I can see why animal rights activists would be concerned about this.
Exactly. Not only are there health risks due to the potential chemicals in the dye, but that bright color can also make them more vulnerable to predators. At Crystal's Critter Haven, animals of all shapes and sizes come through the doors.
From horses to hummingbirds.
But recently, 2 of her newest patients stood out from the rest. Bright blue pigeons. Founder Crystal White took them in after a woman spotted the birds along the Salt River.
And I said, well, I can help you, bring them in. And didn't think much of it. And she goes, well, there was 3 more that I couldn't catch.
So she turned to social media for help finding the others, concerned they could be easy targets for predators.
They don't blend in well with our natural setting.
That's because their feathers were dyed blue for a gender reveal. Sacred Dove Release, a Queen Creek business, organized it for a Valley influencer couple.
I thought it was a beautiful, idea because of the celebration that she was trying to make happen.
Owner Monica Flores says this was the first time her business has ever done a gender reveal, and the first time dye was used on the birds.
I would never put my birds in harm. I use non-toxic food coloring. I have my own procedure on how I apply it to them.
Flores says most of the birds returned home.
They're thriving and happy and flying around.
And that it's normal for some to fly long distances before coming back.
The birds could travel up to 300 miles. Sometimes they don't come directly home, but they always make it home.
Still, Crystal warns putting any substance on a bird can come with risks.
They have very sensitive respiratory systems, and so them inhaling anything or ingesting anything could possibly cause harm too.
The couple involved did not want to talk on camera, but tells 12 News they were misled, saying they're heartbroken and wish they could change what happened. They say they were told the dye would wash off quickly. Crystal says that hasn't happened.
I'm very concerned with the fact that it's not coming off.
Now, Crystal tells us she's continuing to care for the birds before she returns them.
I just want to make sure that they're completely healthy before they can go back, and then they also follow up with their avian vet and make sure that they get ongoing care and maybe stop dying pigeons.
And after the response on social media, Monica says her company will no longer dye birds and they'll continue their traditional dove release services. We're live in studio. Maria Stobbs, 12 News.
Maria, thanks.
The man accused of setting a house fire while his ex-girlfriend was inside is now being charged with attempted murder, arson, and a variety of other charges. It happened around 3 o'clock in the morning near Greenway Road and Grand Avenue in Surprise. A caller had reported her ex-boyfriend was on the property and allegedly setting the home and cars on fire. When officers arrived, they took 56-year-old Carmon Lee Caldwell into custody.
The city of Phoenix and Phoenix Fire announced Stage 1 fire restrictions will go into effect this weekend, and that could bring big changes ahead of the 4th of July holiday. The restrictions are due to elevated fire danger. The whole state is dry right now, and one spark is all it takes to set off a wildfire. The Stage 1 restrictions will prohibit residents from using fireworks within a mile of wilderness areas, national forests, mountain preserves, and desert parks.
And we are currently tracking 2 different wildfires in Arizona. First, crews continue to battle the Rock Canyon fire, which is burning near the Arizona-Utah border. It has expanded to over 4,000 acres, and it is only 5% contained. And then we've got parts of the Tonto National Forest now closed because of the Sycamore fire. The fire has burned over 3,000 acres and is 0% contained. The U.S. Forest Service says the emergency closure is in place to protect the public health and safety as crews continue firefighting operations. The closure is set to last through July 17th unless it is lifted sooner. New at 10, the Federal Aviation Administration is looking into controversial landing fees at an East Valley airport.
Those fees recently approved by the Mesa City Council have at least one flight school saying it could be forced to shut down before heading to breaking news tonight. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly heard from the FAA about its concerns.
Starting on August 1st, any pilot that lands at Falcon Field will have to pay $20.35. It doesn't sound like much. And the city says the first 10 landings a month are free. But for flight schools, some say it's going to put them out of business.
I'll probably have to shut down.
Stephen Devine is the CEO of Aero Angel, a flight school at Falcon Field, saying just one lesson consists of about a dozen landings. So with this new fee,
Increased cost in the thousands per lesson per student. So it's just unmanageable for them and it's unmanageable for me. So I've actually looked at brokerage firms at selling my aircraft and potentially having to sell my business.
when the city made its decision in March, it said the fees were to help keep Falcon Field sustainable, not wanting to tax all of its residents to keep it going. But now the city is facing a legal battle over it. A federal lawsuit has been filed by 2 flight schools here against the city of Mesa to stop these landing fees. Now the Federal Aviation Administration is getting involved after receiving complaints. In a letter to Mesa by the FAA, it calls the landing fees unusual and problematic, that it may be inconsistent with the city's federal obligations, could affect activities, and potentially introduce operational safety risks in the region, asking that the city not implement the fee until these areas of concern are investigated. Otherwise, it could lead to the FAA not funding future projects at Falcon Field.
I hope the FAA really gives them the hammer.
Devine hoping all of this stops those additional costs from happening, not only for the sake of flight schools like his, but also for the historic airport.
And it means a huge loss for the aviation community at Falcon. And it means kind of the beginning of the death of the airport.
Now, we did receive a statement from the city of Mesa saying the city retained nationally recognized legal counsel to review and defend the fee structure. Because both the city's review and the related legal proceedings remain active, the city is unable to provide further comment at this time.
Check out this dramatic rescue. It's body camera footage captured by Mesa police officers rushing into a burning home. This happened last night to rescue a woman who was trapped inside. This all happening near 78th Street and Baseline Road. When Mesa police arrived, they found a car engulfed in flames, the fire rapidly spreading to an RV, nearby brush, and even portions of a home. Officers were able to enter the smoke-filled residence and safely rescue the woman. Well, tomorrow, Arizona State University will be back in court as it asked to take over a 124-year-old home in downtown Phoenix. We first brought you the story of 89-year-old Robert Young, who has owned this home in the Evans Church Hill neighborhood since 1975. However, ASU is planning to build their new health headquarters right where his home sits. The Arizona Board of Regents filed a lawsuit seeking eminent domain over the home. Young is asking for at least $5 million to move the property. Tomorrow, ASU is expected to explain why it needs possession of the home. We'll bring you updates on air and on 12news.com.
A lot of people talking about that case. Tomorrow is Juneteenth, a federal holiday that commemorates the end of slavery in America. So whether you want to enjoy the holiday or run some errands tomorrow and you're off from work, here's a list of what's opened and what's closed. Post offices will be closed. However, UPS and FedEx delivery services will be available. Most banks and public libraries will also be closed. Grocery stores like Walmart, Trader Joe's, and Whole Foods will be open, and most restaurants will also be open.